Carl Jung uncovered something disturbing, something that explains why your life keeps repeating the same patterns. Relationships breaking the same way, opportunities slipping through your fingers, dreams stalling before they even begin. It isn't bad luck, it isn't coincidence, it's the law of your psyche. Here's the warning. You're already living as if something is true about life. Maybe you act as if life is hostile. Maybe you act as if every step forward will be punished. And life, with disturbing accuracy, keeps confirming that assumption. This isn't positive thinking. This isn't manifestation. This is shadow work. Because what you unconsciously believe about life is shaping the very field of reality around you. And here's the dangerous part. Most people are acting as if everything works against them, which means every failure, every betrayal, every obstacle feels like proof that the world is unsafe. That belief becomes self-fulfilling. But Jung discovered something else. When you act as if life is fundamentally supportive, as if things tend to work out for you, your psyche reorganizes. Shadow transforms, synchronicities multiply, and reality itself begins to shift. So the question is not whether you're already acting as if you are. The question is, are you acting as if life is your enemy, or as if life is secretly conspiring to help you? Stay with me until the end of this video, because we will uncover why this principle is both a warning and a solution. And if you can integrate it, it may change not just your outlook, but the very pattern of your existence. The psychological trap. We like to believe we see reality as it is, solid, objective, unbiased. But Carl Jung warned us, you never meet reality directly. You meet it filtered through the psyche, and your psyche is not neutral. It carries memories, wounds, forgotten fears, and silent assumptions. Assumptions so deep you no longer notice them. This is the psychological trap. You are not simply observing life. You are acting as if something is true about it. And life, with disturbing accuracy, reflects that belief back to you. Jung used the word constellation to describe this. When an unconscious belief becomes emotionally charged, it creates a field, a magnetic pull around you. And inside that field, events begin to cluster, patterns begin to repeat. Synchronicities appear that confirm exactly what you believe. Imagine two people losing their jobs. The first carries an unconscious belief, the world is against me. So when he's laid off, he feels doomed. He withdraws. He interprets every rejection as further proof of his unworthiness. Within months, he spirals deeper into despair. The second carries a different assumption. Life finds a way to support me. When she's laid off, she feels shaken, yes, but she interprets it as redirection. She notices a chance encounter, applies for a new role, and lands in a career more aligned with her skills. To her, the setback becomes a doorway. Same event, different constellations, completely different outcomes. Do you see the trap? Your unconscious belief system is not passive. It organizes reality. It pulls in experiences that match its frequency, then whispers in your ear, "See, I was right all along." This is why Jung insisted that unconscious assumptions are so dangerous. Because they operate invisibly, yet they shape everything you call fate. It's not that you attract random luck or misfortune. It's that you filter reality through the stance you already carry. And then, like a cruel trick, the world mirrors it back to you, over and over, until you believe there is no other way. This is the psychological trap. You may think life is proving your belief, but in truth, your belief is scripting the life you see. And unless you become conscious of the stance you're acting from, you will keep replaying the same story, the same heartbreaks, the same disappointments, the same self-fulfilling prophecy. That is why Jung called shadow work not optional, but essential. Because until you bring these hidden assumptions into the light, You remain imprisoned by them, chained to a destiny that was never truly yours. Acting as if the first shift. Carl Jung never promised an easy escape from the trap, but he gave us a key, a strange, almost paradoxical move. He called it acting as if, not blind faith, not wishful thinking, but a deliberate experiment to behave as though life is fundamentally supportive, even when the evidence hasn't yet appeared. Why does this matter? Because your body, your emotions, your unconscious are always following a script. If the script is life is hostile, then you live in defense. Your shoulders tighten, your words shrink, your eyes search for threats, and people respond to you in kind. But when you act as if life is an ally, your entire stance shifts. You breathe deeper, your movements open, your energy becomes receptive, and suddenly, the world begins to meet you differently. This is not magic, it's psychology. Your unconscious reorganizes around the stance you take. And what was once a closed loop of fear becomes an open field for synchronicity. Think of a patient Jung once described. She had lived years in constant dread, waiting for the next disaster. Every accident, every failed relationship confirmed her private belief. Life betrays me. Then came the experiment. For 1 month, she would act as if life was secretly working in her favor. Whenever something went wrong, she whispered to herself, "This too is for me." Whenever doubt rose, she chose to behave as though support was on the way. And something remarkable happened. Synchronicities began to multiply. A missed train led her to meet an old friend who offered a job. A rejection freed her to discover an opportunity she never would have seen. Her circumstances didn't transform overnight, but her relationship to them did. Jung explained that this shift awakens a deeper function of the psyche, the capacity to bridge opposites, to dissolve either-or thinking, and open the door to solutions the rational mind could never invent. Acting as if is not denial. It is rehearsal, a rehearsal for a new life. By stepping into the stance of trust, you give your psyche permission to reorganize. And when the psyche shifts, the outer world begins to echo it back. So here is the challenge. Right now, in your own life, where are you still acting as if the world is against you? And what might happen if you dared to reverse the script? The transcendent function. Jung believed that the psyche has a hidden capacity, a mysterious bridge between opposites. He called it the transcendent function. Most of us live trapped in dualities, either success or failure, either love or rejection, either I win or I lose. The mind insists on this narrow frame, and within that frame, we suffer. But when you begin to act as if everything works out for you, something subtle happens. The polarity starts to loosen. The grip of either-or weakens, and suddenly, a third path begins to appear. This is the work of the transcendent function. It emerges when two opposing truths are held long enough, without collapsing into despair. You feel the pain of loss, but you also carry the trust that life supports you. Together, these opposites generate a new solution, a synthesis the rational mind could never predict. Imagine a business owner facing collapse. The numbers were dire. The choice seemed brutal: close the doors forever or drown in debt. But he tried the experiment. Instead of resigning, he acted as if a way forward existed, even if he could not yet see it. He held the tension between despair and trust. And then, an unexpected partnership appeared. A friend of a friend offered collaboration. The company not only survived, it evolved. This is the transcendent function in motion. It is not naive hope. It is a psychic alchemy. When you refuse to collapse into only failure, when you stand in the stance of something is possible, the psyche reorganizes, and life begins to mirror that hidden possibility. Jung compared it to dream work. Dreams often hold contradictions, death and rebirth, terror and beauty, chaos and meaning. They refuse the limits of logic, and in that refusal, they reveal a truth deeper than reason. So too in waking life. When you act as if, you activate the transcendent function, and the impossible becomes possible. A path you could not imagine walks itself into your life. The question is, can you hold the tension? Can you live in the space between despair and trust long enough for a new reality to emerge? Because if you can, the psyche will show you that freedom was never on one side or the other. It was hidden in the third way, waiting to be born. The shadow as enemy or ally. In every story of transformation, there is a figure waiting in the dark. Carl Jung called it the shadow. The shadow is everything you've pushed away, everything you've denied, everything you couldn't bear to see in yourself. And here is the danger. If you live as if life is against you, your shadow will join the enemy. It will sabotage you from within. It will whisper failure when opportunity knocks. It will trip you at the very moment you begin to rise. It will gladly provide proof that your darkest assumptions are true. But when you dare to act as if life supports you, the shadow changes sides. What once sabotaged you begins to serve you. The very energy you repressed becomes fuel. Your anger turns into power. Your fear becomes intuition. Your wounds transform into wisdom. The shadow is neutral. It is not good, not evil, but it is loyal to the story you are living. One patient of Jung's described years of repeating failure. Every relationship collapsed. Every chance at success dissolved. Her unconscious belief was simple: life betrays me. And so her shadow worked tirelessly to fulfill that prophecy. But when she began the experiment, acting as if life were secretly for her, something shifted. The shadow stopped dragging her back into betrayal. Instead, it poured its energy into her creativity. The same intensity that once destroyed her relationships was now driving her art, her voice, her calling. Her life didn't become perfect overnight, but the shadow was no longer her enemy. It had become her ally. Jung warned us, the shadow is too powerful to ignore. If left unconscious, it will rule your life, and you will call it fate. But when acknowledged, when invited to serve a greater vision, it becomes the very force that carries you into wholeness. So the question is not whether you have a shadow. You do. The question is, which side is it fighting for? Because the shadow will always fight. It will either tear you down, or it will lift you beyond what you thought possible. And the choice begins with the stance you take toward life. Participation Mystique. Reality responds. Carl Jung observed a strange phenomenon. He called it participation mystique, the mystical participation between psyche and world. What does it mean? It means your psychology is not locked inside your head. It spills outward and begins to shape reality itself. When you act as if life is against you, you send out a signal, a frequency that others unconsciously pick up. They hesitate. They withdraw. They treat you as if you are undeserving. And suddenly, your original belief is proven true. But when you act as if life is for you, you also send out a signal. This one is open, trusting, magnetic, and people respond differently. Opportunities draw near. Doors begin to open. Strange coincidences, synchronicities, start to appear. Jung saw this in his patients again and again. A young artist believed the market rejected her. She shrank back, kept her paintings hidden, interpreted every silence as rejection, and indeed, no gallery invited her. But when she tried the experiment, acting as if she were welcome, she began to show her work. She spoke as though her art already had a place, and soon, a gallery approached. A collector reached out. The doors did not open by accident. They opened in response to the unconscious stance she carried. This is not magic. This is participation mystique. The psyche and the world are woven together. You think you are only observing reality, but in truth, you are co-creating with it, and this realization is both terrifying and hopeful. Terrifying, because if you remain unconscious, you will keep broadcasting fear, scarcity, hostility, and the world will mirror it back. But hopeful, because the moment you shift your stance, the moment you act as if life supports you, reality itself begins to reorganize. Not instantly, not without effort, but unmistakably. The world is not outside you. It participates with you. It listens to you. It responds to you. So the question becomes, what are you inviting the world to confirm? Individuation and freedom. Carl Jung believed that the highest task of the human journey is individuation, the process of becoming your true self. But here is the warning. If you live as if life is against you, you will never dare to be authentic. You will cling to safety, hide behind the persona, and play roles that please others while betraying yourself. Fear becomes the master, shadow becomes the jailer, and your soul waits silently behind the bars. But when you act as if life is secretly for you, something radical shifts. You no longer shrink into false identities. You risk being seen. You risk being real, because underneath the risk, you carry the quiet trust that life will support your truth. This is not arrogance. It is freedom. The freedom to walk a path that does not yet exist, to step into relationships where your wholeness is welcome, to create work that reflects your deepest values, to stand in your own presence without apology. Individuation is not about perfection. It is about alignment, living in such a way that your outer life and your inner truth finally match, and this alignment is only possible when you change the stance of your psyche. When you act as if everything works out for you, you give yourself permission to step out of the old script and into the authentic story your soul has been waiting to tell. One man Jung worked with lived 50 years as a shadow of himself, a dutiful son, a reliable worker, but never truly alive. When he finally dared to act as if life would support his authenticity, he left the false roles behind, and slowly he found community, joy, and meaning that had eluded him all his life. This is the power of individuation. It cannot be forced, it cannot be faked, but it can be invited by changing the way you act, by shifting the very stance of your soul. So ask yourself, what would you do differently if you truly believed life was conspiring in your favor? What would you dare if you trusted that existence itself was your ally? Because individuation is not a concept, it is a way of living, and it begins the moment you act as if everything is working out for you. The experiment. Carl Jung often challenged his patients not to simply understand shadow work in theory, but to live it, to test it. So here is your invitation, your experiment. For the next 7 days, act as if everything works out for you. Not with desperate optimism, not with forced positivity, but with calm, steady conviction, as though the universe has already made arrangements on your behalf. When a problem arises, don't collapse into fear. Whisper to yourself, "This too is for me." Act as if the difficulty is guiding you, not punishing you. When a door closes, don't assume rejection. Act as if it is redirection, a sign that something more aligned is waiting just beyond your sight. When you feel the sting of delay, act as if life is slowing you down because the timing must ripen, because what you are seeking is also seeking you. This is not denial. It is not pretending pain doesn't exist. It is choosing a different stance toward it. It is living the experiment of as if. And here is the remarkable thing. The psyche listens. Your unconscious begins to reorganize around this new posture. And when the psyche shifts, synchronicities follow. Small chances appear. Unexpected connections arise. You begin to notice support where once you only saw obstacles. So for 1 week, hold this experiment. Act as if life conspires to help you. Behave as if every moment, light or dark, carries a hidden gift. Then pay attention. Notice the coincidences. Notice the inner calm. Notice how others respond to you differently. And when the week is over, reflect. What changed? What stayed the same? What surprised you? Because this experiment is not just an exercise, it is a doorway, a first step into a new relationship with reality itself. The only question is, will you dare to test it? And you are already living by an assumption, already acting as if something is true about life. And life with unsettling precision is proving you right. For some, the stance is despair. For others, suspicion. For many, it is the quiet belief that nothing ever works out. And so the shadow conspires to confirm it, over and over again. But Jung's discovery offers us both a warning and a gift. The warning is clear. Unconscious assumptions will script your destiny. The gift is even clearer. Change the stance, and the story changes with it. You have seen tonight how this unfolds. The psychological trap of constellations, the shift of acting as if, the bridge of the transcendent function, the shadow turning from enemy to ally, the mysterious participation of psyche and world, the birth of individuation and freedom, and finally, the invitation to experiment. So now it rests with you. For 7 days, act as if everything works out for you, not naively, not blindly, but consciously, as an experiment, as a stance, as a way of stepping into the deeper self, and then return here. Share what happened. Did synchronicities appear? Did resistance soften? Did you feel, even for a moment, that life might not be against you, but for you? Your story matters, because your voice may become the mirror another soul desperately needs. So if this journey has spoken to you, like this video, subscribe for more Jungian explorations and share it with someone who feels trapped in the old script. Someone who has forgotten that reality can bend. Carl Jung once wrote, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." The fate you live tomorrow begins with the stance you choose today, so choose carefully and dare to act as if everything is working out for you.